From our minds and into your home, we now bring you the Freethought Zone.
It's a high-powered and high-tech podcast with Mark Mythos, your host in the Freethought Zone. Yeah, thank you, Paul, for the great introduction. Mark Mythos at markmythos.com, freethoughtradio.com. Dude, I'm also up on Facebook, Ustream, where else? Flip.tv, and a couple other places up on the World Wide Web. YouTube even. Hey, it's Mark Mythos on this edition of the Freethought Zone, talking about the passage of the healthcare reform bill. Yeah, we're going to get a little political on you today. And the Smithsonian Institute has a new human origins exhibit that elicits awe and protests. Can't imagine the creationist, huh? We'll find out. Well, you know about the Hobbit that they found in the on the island of Flores. They're saying that it arrived on that island about 1,300,000 damn years ago. Yeah, we're going to shake up your rational world. Again on Facebook, markmythos.com, on YouTube, ustream.tv, Google Videos, and Flip.tv. Also on Freethought Radio and markmythos.com. All right, enough of the shameless plug. Let's get underway with the show. I want to say thank you to David McAfee for letting me use some of his material from Dr. Darrell Ray on the God virus last time around. Thank you so much, David, for letting me give you a shameless plug. Before we continue, let's get one thing straight. The origin of life, abiogenesis, has nothing to do with the theory of evolution. Scientific theories are designed to explain a specific set of facts. You would not claim the theory of gravity is wrong because it doesn't explain germs. That's called germ theory. Claiming evolution is wrong because it doesn't explain the origin of life is like claiming an umbrella doesn't work because it doesn't predict the paths of hurricanes. In debate, that's called a false analogy. Abiogenesis explains the origin of life. Evolution explains how life changes once it already exists. Creationists have made a number of arguments why they think abiogenesis is wrong. Here are the top 4. Number 1, spontaneous generation of complex organisms is impossible. Well, it was actually scientifically tested and proven false in 1668 by Francesco Redi, 1765 by Lazzaro Spanazzali, and in 1859 by Louis Pasteur, and has never been claimed by scientists since. Way to be current. Argument 2, the probability of a single cell forming by chance is 1 to 10 to the 50,000th power. Disregarded the fact that these numbers are made up, all this shows that early life could not have been as complex as modern cells. I'm going to stop it right there because that is a very important point. Early cells were very, very simple. They evolved over millions and millions of years. Early cells were probably nothing more than some very simple RNA that probably had about 4 or 5 nucleotides attached to it and a bilipid layer of lipids, which are basically nothing but like an oily protein substance. And he's going to get into that as well. Argument number 3. Life was created by lightning striking a mud puddle, and that's just silly. That's according to Ben Stein. Actually, there's only one book that claims life was formed from dirt, the Holy Bible. Argument number 4, the 53 Miller-Urey experiments didn't create life. It's like claiming it's impossible to fly to the moon simply because the Wright brothers couldn't do it. The early Earth had orders of magnitude more time, space, complex chemistry, environmental conditions. So what can science tell us about the origins of life? This is a video by Dr. Sostak, professor at Harvard Medical School, We know from experiments and observations made in the fields of astronomy, chemistry, geology, and meteorology that the early prebiotic Earth was filled with organic molecules, the building blocks of life. Organic molecules are actually quite common in space. As a matter of fact, they are so common you can see them with telescopic spectroscopy. They can actually tell the location and the magnitude or the intensity of organic molecules in space because they give off a specific, or they actually literally block a specific waveform of light, so we can actually see those in outer space. So they're quite common in space. We also know from the creationist arguments discussed earlier that early life must have been extremely simple. Meaning no complex protein machinery. Modern cells separate themselves from the environment with a lipid bilayer. You've heard me talk about lipid layers. The problem with modern phospholipids is that they're too good at what they do. They can form a nearly impenetrable barrier. Modern cells must use proteins to move molecules across their surface. But life didn't have to start with modern chemicals. Oh no! The prebiotic environment contained many simple fatty acids. Under the range of pH, they spontaneously form stable vesicles. Protocells, as they're otherwise known, and they're permeable to small organic molecules, meaning no complex proteins are required to get stuff in. It's a little different world back then. When a vesicle encounters free fatty acids in solution, they will incorporate them. Eating and growth are driven purely by thermodynamics. No intelligent designer need apply. I'll put it to you that way, Ben Stein. This is what I've been saying. People who are ignorant of the science of abiogenesis just simply don't know what the hell they're talking about. When a vesicle grows, it adopts a tubular branched shape. Surface area grows faster than volume, which is easily divided by mechanical forces. So here you have incorporation of proteins and cellular division. During mechanical division, none of the contents of the vesicle are lost. So far, with naturally occurring simple fatty acids, we have vesicles that can spontaneously grow and divide. So what about the genetic material? Again, modern nucleotides are too stable and require complex protein machinery to replicate. The prebiotic environment contained hundreds of types of different nucleotides, not just DNA and RNA. Recent experiments have shown that some of those are capable of spontaneous polymerization, such as phosphoramidate DNA. Monomers will base pair with a single-strand template and self-ligate. It's getting a little technical, but bear with it. They can also polymerize in solution and spontaneously form new templates or extended existing templates as well. No special sequences are required, it's just chemistry. So far we have lipid vesicles that can grow and divide and nucleotide polymers that can self-replicate all on their own. But how does it become life? Here's how. Our fatty acid vesicles are permeable to nucleotide monomers but not to polymers. Once spontaneous polymerization occurs within the vesicle, the polymer is trapped. Floating through the ocean, the polymers containing vesicles will encounter convection currents, hydrothermal vents as we were talking about, such as those set up by hydrothermal vents. Fatty acid vesicles are stable on nearly boiling conditions. The high temperatures will separate the polymer strands and increase the membrane's permeability to monomers. In other words, it's just thermodynamics. Once the temperature cools, spontaneous polymerization can occur and the cycle repeats. It's because the outer body shrinks again because it's cool.
Your best skills are ready to hone outside of the Freethought Zone.